Magical bears are coming for you. Don't you try to run away. We'll chase you down. We'll cut off your face and make you listen to a podcast. Listen to a podcast. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the show. I am one of your hosts, the Cardinal, and this is the Critical Beard podcast, the best podcast with two fat bearded guys in all of Texas about video games, movies, video games, magazines, video games, TV, video games, on the TV, on the telephones, on the tablets, on the computers, on the arcade systems, on the tablets. Welcome back. It's so good to see you and have you here. This is my co-host, Meatball.
I'm the Meatball. You realize we didn't introduce ourselves the last episode, so I mean, I guess
nobody knows who we were. Now we can tell them.
Yeah, that was just like
it's the suspense all the way through the first episode.
Yeah, they watched the whole hour and they're like, "Who are these guys?
Who are they?" Tune in for the next one to find out. When all is revealed.
Find out.
Yeah, I mean, it's so good to have you, man. How have you been?
Super good.
I love that for you. That's so good for you. I'm so happy. So
Cardinal,
sweet.
You're so sweet.
Hey, what you been playing lately?
It's funny that you before we recorded, you brought up Sea of Stars, because that's what I've been playing, because it's a great game and I wanted to play it again. So I'm playing it and it's really fun. It's like my third time playing it and I love it, and I'm going to play it again.
I still need to beat it. I think I got like halfway through and something else came out. I don't remember. I need to go back to it. What's
the last game you finished?
I'm very, very close to beating Xenoblade Chronicles X. I'm on the last mission. And they said it. They said, "You're on the last mission, boy. If you go this way, you're going to beat the game in."
It's like last mission, 5 hours long.
Yeah, probably. Because the problem I'm running into in that game, I'll get to it. Have you been playing anything else or just Sea of Stars?
No, I haven't had a lot of time, so I'm just put on Sea of Stars, and it's just like comfort food. Like, I love it. Everything about it. Like, it's beautiful to look at, beautiful to listen to. The combat is like engaging, but it's not like I have to pay too much attention to it. It's just perfect.
For those of you who don't know, Sea of Stars is a JRPG made by the French people.
The Sabotage is.
And then you have this new company out here trying to say they're going to make the first French JRPG. I'm like, hey, no, they've already done it.
Yeah, the French beat you to it.
Yeah, the French beat the French.
The other French.
The other French guy.
Yeah. So that's pretty good. What you been playing?
Oh, man.
I wonder if you're still playing Xenoblade.
Yeah, I'm at the very end. I'm trying to finish that out so that I can fully devote my time to another game that came out that I got early. It's actually not out until the 19th. It's not out until Friday. But I got my copy early.
Oh.
Let's see if I can.
I got my copy early.
I got my copy early because Amazon is stupid. Yeah, Lunar Silver Star Story Complete, the remastered collection.
Silver Star is the first time.
Silver Star and Eternal Blue. Yeah. Well, see, the reason I want to say complete, Eternal, or because Silver Star Story Complete is the PS1 version,
PS1
but
version
it
of
also sounds like you're talking about a collection. It's like, it already is because it was a remake.
Yeah, it
was a remake of itself.
Report. It was a report, an upgraded report of a Sega Saturn game.
Like everything's different. It's like basically a remake because the visuals are overhauled, the sprites are different, the anime cutscenes are completely different. It's like totally different.
This is a whole nother episode where we talk about remakes versus remasters.
Oh yeah, that I can get into. But so I've been playing Lunar, which is a remastered collection of two beloved PS1 RPGs from the 1990s.
they're remasters of a remaster.
Remasters of a remaster that was also remastered on the PSP.
Wow. Is this The Last of Us?
Oh no, because the games actually change when they
And it's not within like a 10-year period. They remade it like.
See, they actually added a fast forward feature in Lunar, and I would have really preferred them to add the fast forward feature in Last of Us Part 2, where I could get through some of that stuff that ain't so fun.
Am I right?
I mean, some of those parts. I mean, even the ending, it just drags and drags. But no, Lunar is a lot of fun, and I played it on the Game Boy Advance, which is apparently like the worst way to play that game. But man, it is funny you say Sea of Stars, and it never clicked for me because I was always like, Sea of Stars feels like Chrono Trigger, just like a modern version of that. And now playing through Lunar again, kind of for the first time, I'm like, oh, Sea of Stars is Lunar and Chrono Trigger put together.
And
like,
some Golden Sun too.
And a little Golden Sun, yeah, a little Golden Sun for sure, a little Golden Sun in there. Although I booted up Golden Sun again, and I actually think the writing in that game is not very good. It's just like it's just really like, there's like when Lunar or Chrono Trigger, when they're saying, it's like you really like hanging on every word everyone's saying because like the writing is really funny and really clever, and even Sea of Stars has clever writing, but like, man, the writing in Golden Sun is not clever. Like that game is like so just tons of information all the time that you don't, they just people talking.
I think that was Camelot's first RPG. They had just done
tennis.
Yeah, the Mario Tennis for the Game Boy Color. That's all they did, I think. They made some really great RPGs.
Yeah. Mario Tennis for the Game Boy Color.
No joke, bro. That's a fun game.
I put it in the pile.
Designed and developed by Camelot.
Hey, it does say this. It says it right on the box. Yeah, no, I am loving Lunar, and the thing I really don't like about it is how much it is pulling me away from Xenoblade, because I'm doing that thing. I'm at the end of a giant RPG, and Robin, what does he do when he gets to the end of a big RPG? He wants to
fly away like a little bird.
He wants to run away. He says,
like a little no. Just fly away.
Because the problem with Xenoblade is you get to the end and the level requirements for every mission get high, like exponentially higher. So now the last mission I did was like, oh, you need to be level 40, and now it's like you need to be level 49 before you do the next one. I'm like, I barely leveled up one time in that last mission, man. So now I'm just grinding just to get to the last mission, because it's like, So I just hit level 50. I could probably go ahead and do it. But then I'm reading online that I need like a level 50 Skell. And so I'm trying to afford one of those, and they're like $5 billion. Like actual, like 5 million, like actual $5 million in the game. Yeah.
They're NFTs. You actually have to buy them with real money, and you can sell them. Whole marketplace.
I can't think of a single video game that uses money the same way as Xenoblade Chronicles X, because like the currency is actually like millions of dollars, but it makes sense because you're running basically oil rigs throughout this whole like planet, and you're just like pulling up the resources and making money off of it. And then if you were to buy a giant mech in real life, it probably would cost millions of dollars. So it makes sense.
I don't know. I had a lot of cash flow and spent a lot of money on Metal Gear Solid 5.
That's another good one.
I think by game, I mean, I was like billions of GMP, just like.
Xenoblade X and Metal Gear 5 really are kind of similar games. They're like really similar in the way that like you're like collecting all these resources, you have all these, you recruit all this army, you have giant robots, you have, it's like open world. You kind of explore around, but like there's not much to find necessarily. It's not like a ton of stuff to explore. It's really just going out and doing missions and getting money so you can get better guns and weapons and stuff. It's pretty similar.
I like money.
And both of the games have the worst storyline in the series.
Your face.
Oh, got him. I'm just kidding. I know you're upset with me.
It's over. We're ending it now. It's over.
But it's funny because even if it's the worst story in a Metal Gear game or a Xenoblade game, it's still like it's probably still pretty good.
Yeah, it's like
still better than like 90% of
Zelda game is still better than like 95% of video games.
Yeah, that's the thing. People are like, Tears of the Kingdom has the best story in a Zelda game, and it's like it's still not great, but it's better.
It's still better than most. All right. What is the topic?
Topic of the show: TOTS.
TOPICS. Yeah.
Topic. It's the topic of the show. The topic of the show. What we gonna talk about? I bet you wanna know. It's games that surprised us.
Yeah, like sometimes a game comes out and either you had low hopes and it blew it away.
Low hopes. I love that.
High hopes, and then it ended up sucking, or you didn't know anything about it and you played it and you're like, this changed my life. Yeah, games that just surprised you. It took you by surprise. Now, I love a good surprise.
Speaking of surprises, we each picked 5 games that surprised us. I picked 5. He did it. He picked 5.
I did. I picked 5.
Dead guy.
That's 10.
So that's 10 if you put them together. But I don't know his list. He don't know my list.
It's surprise.
So, the surprise was inside of us all along.
Ooh, that's meta, man.
The surprise were the friendships that
the surprise was the surprise we found on the way.
The friends were the surprises that we found in the game.
Surprise friend is the thing we found. Yeah.
Life is like
surprise
a box
friend.
Of friends. Life is like a box of friends.
That's what I like to do.
You never know what the surprise is.
I like to sneak up on strangers and go, surprise friend.
That's pretty good. I would do that.
That's how I usually introduce myself to people,
If you ever want to do that in real life, I will follow you around with a camera and I will pretend that I don't know you once they freak out and try to fight you. I'll be like, I don't know him.
Surprise friend.
Okay. Well, I
hope you have some reserves, because if we have doubles, then you have something to pull from.
Yeah.
Like some
you go first.
Okay, I'll go first. There's
What game surprised you?
So this game, it came out a long time ago, and it was an already established franchise with a very specific gameplay style, and this new one, they just flipped it on its head. I'm like, why are you making this 2D platform explorer a first-person game? This is gonna suck. But that game ended up being Metroid Prime, which ended up being a very big surprise to me, because I was not looking forward to that game. I remember.
I was surprised. That game surprised me too. Yeah.
I was disappointed, and it was very un-Nintendo at the time.
We heard they were making a first-person shooter. We thought this was the end of Nintendo being like the fun company. It was like they're going to
be like Halo. Boom.
They're making the system with the discs. They're finally giving in. They're doing away with the fun cartridges that we all knew. They were making the discs, and then they were going to make a Metroid that was a first-person shooter. It was basically just going to be, Halo.
But it wasn't. It captured the same exact spirit of Metroid. Just somehow they did it. Somehow Retro Studios did it. They were able to. I don't know how they did it, especially with that control scheme, which is on paper shouldn't work.
I mean, on paper, none of those games should work first person games should have ever worked. Like
Yeah.
GoldenEye, Perfect Dark, Time Splitters, like those games should not have controlled because it doesn't work. It doesn't make sense.
But yeah,
And this,
Metroid Prime, that was a big surprise for me.
I remember reading about it, or we all knew it was going to be. It was because we had Nintendo Powers and stuff at that point, and the internet was in its infancy, so we kind of had like we could pull up trailers for things and watch them like
We
at
can
really
watch
low bit
like
rates.
240p, uber compressed QuickTime video,
240p if we were lucky. It's like
I remember. You remember those little QuickTime movie boxes that were like, it was like that
I
tiny.
remember trying to pull up the trailer for the first trailer for Twilight Princess and just like waiting forever for that thing to buffer. It's like, come on, man. But no, I remember seeing the first reviews in, it was either GamePro. It was GamePro. It was the one that had the multiple scores.
Oh, GamePro.
Yeah, because I was big into no, not GamePro. EGM, Electronic Gaming Monthly, and they had it like the multiple people would review one game, and I remember opening up to Metroid Prime. So it's like I really want to know what this game gets because it's going to get bad scores. And so I remember opening it up and just seeing 10, 10, 10, 10. And I was like, no way. It was the highest score I'd ever seen for a game since like Ocarina of Time. And so like I couldn't believe it. Like I was blown away. So I still kind of thought, no, there's just no way that can be good. Like even with these scores, they paid them.
Nintendo paid them off. But yeah, Metroid Prime, that was a big surprise for me. And people can say, kind of like with like Wind Waker, like they can say like, oh, I thought it was going to be good, but like at the time, like pretty much everyone was skeptical.
Yeah.
Like Metroid Prime, everyone was skeptical, and it was like a team that, like Retro Studios, I don't think had done anything with Nintendo prior to that. I don't believe so. So it was just like this company. You're just like, here you go. There you go. Take one of our cornerstone franchises and.
Well, it made sense that they gave it to an American company because the company or that had been made in Japan, but it didn't sell in Japan. And so the game series was notoriously like really poorly selling in Japan and sold really good in America, but that was about it. Like it just didn't sell in Japan. So it makes sense that they would have like handed it off to like an American company and been like, can you try to sell this game? And it's still, I think to this, Metroid Prime 1 sold really well. It's still one of the best selling games on the GameCube. So yeah. Well, the first game I had that surprised me was this back in the 90s, late 90s. I distinctly remember with the N64, there was like a handful of games, and I can't remember if it was Blockbuster or Movie Gallery or Hastings. I can't remember, but you could get cartridges for the N64 that were Japanese cartridges with the backs replaced so that you could use them on yours, on the American 64s. And you could like basically like I think it was Hastings or Blockbuster. Now that I'm thinking about it, so it wasn't Movie Gallery, but like you could basically rent the Japanese versions of games before the American versions came, because like the Japanese versions were already out, and then the American versions would come out later. And I remember renting a little game because it had Mario on the cover and Pikachu, and I was like, what is this? And I was like, what is happening? And I rented it and I took it home and I put it in, and everything was in Japanese. So I couldn't understand anything, but it was fucking Smash Brothers. But I mean, you could kind of heard about it happening. I think there was maybe a commercial about it. So like, it was kind of out there, but nobody really understood what it was. And it was like, what is this? Some like spin-off, some crappy little like mini game, like Mario Party thing. And it was like, no. And it was like, select your character, Pikachu, Mario. But it was like a demo version. Dude, it's crazy. My memory of this is like bizarre because I talk about this and people go, I have no idea what you're talking about. Yeah. I rented the game and it wasn't in English. I just remembered that. It was not in English, and it was before it came out because it was not out in the States yet. And so I think it was a demo cart of a Japanese version. So all I can, whatever. Anyways, I played like you could only select a couple characters. You couldn't unlock anybody, and I was like, I remember playing on the Pokemon stage, and all the Pokemon that popped up would just say their name in Japanese, and I remember being like Pikachu, Mario, and Link, and it like blew my mind. I thought it was the coolest thing I had ever seen. I couldn't believe it, and then I begged and begged my mom because I knew the game was coming out. I knew it was coming out in America. And I said, "This is the coolest thing ever." I was telling all my friends about it at school. Nobody really knew what I was talking about. I was like, "It's so cool! It's Mario Pikachu." They're like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." And then we rented then I bought the game for my birthday, brand new. It was like the first game I bought brand new at the store, and got home, put it in, played it all night long. And there was one game that was just my favorite game ever at that point, which was Earthbound. That was another. Speaking of other games I can't talk to anybody about, I love that game, but nobody really knew anything about it that I talked to in America. And I had like this little card. I didn't have the box or anything to it, so I played and loved that game. And then I played Smash Brothers all night long until I unlocked a character called Ness.
You're like,
and
what?
As the thing is, I didn't know that was his name in Earthbound. I didn't know his name was Ness because there's nothing that just says that. You can say like when you're picking his name, you can say I don't care, and it'll say Ness. But you can also say George or something. Anyways, so I freaking unlocked that character in this game. It was like I was having a fever dream. I was like, what is this game? What is happening? And unlocked my favorite character from this random RPG nobody's heard of. This game can't be real.
It's like it was made just for you.
Dude, that like I still like I cannot remember anything blowing me away the way that like that game did. Just the way it was like doled out to me too, because it was like this thing that didn't exist. But then once the game actually came out, all the kids were talking about it at school, but still no one knew who Ness was, and they were upset that he was the final unlockable character. Because like, what? Oh, you finally get this character who's like nobody. Why can't we unlock Ganon or something?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, dude. Smash Brothers 64.
Smash Brothers, man.
Surprising.
That was like the Marvel's Avengers Endgame, like before that, man. Like,
yeah,
it was like all these characters like brought together.
Yeah, it was good, and it was a good game.
That was a really good game. I remember. I have very fond memories of playing that with friends. Like I think everyone our age has that memory of just everyone played Smash Brothers.
So
fun.
So fun. It was fun to play by yourself too, though. Like you didn't have to play with a bunch of people. Like it was fun to do that. But
that's kind of, or at least, I mean, Smash Brothers had become more competitive, but like at its heart, it's a party game, and you can play it by yourself and still have a blast.
There's like a whole single player adventure story mode thing, and not story really, but you're like
the game
levels and what?
The single player story mode in the GameCube one was awesome.
Oh yeah, break the targets.
Yeah, I really enjoyed. Like I played a lot of that mode.
Yes.
I didn't have a lot of friends. Surprise friend.
What's the next game that surprised you?
So I guess I'll go with another Mario game. Another Mario related game. So I remember seeing the trailer for this game, or I didn't even see the trailer. I just heard about it, and I think me, along with like everyone else in the world, was like, "This is the worst idea I've ever heard. There's no way it can work. You're gonna take Mario, and then they're gonna put those really annoying rabbits together in a game. Nintendo and Ubisoft. How could this possibly even remotely be fun? Like, how does this work? And it's like a turn-based like XCOM game. Like, what? Garbage game. No, that game was really, really fun.
Yeah.
That game was like probably the thing that Ubisoft has put out that has surprised me the most, like ever. Like,
The sequel was good too.
I didn't play the sequel.
Yeah, Sparks of Hope.
Sparks of Hope.
$10, I think now. It's so cheap.
But yeah, I bought it. I think I bought it. I bought it on sale. I didn't buy it initially because it dropped in price pretty fast. Like any Ubisoft game. Like,
all good Ubisoft.
like all Ubisoft games, it dropped in price. And I picked it up and I was like, what the hell? This is really great. Like it is XCOM. If you like XCOM turn-based strategy style, only it had that Mario funness, and it wasn't overbearing with the freaking rabbits. That's what I was like. I mean, they're basically minions, and I cannot explain how much I loathe.
Minions stole their idea from rabbits. Rabbits were first.
Yeah, but it doesn't excuse their existence.
No, it never does.
Aren't the minions French too? What's up with
I don't know, man. They're making They're making just JRPGs, rabbits, minions. I actually like. I don't like XCOM, but I do like Mario plus rabbits. So
I like Mario plus rabbits more than the XCOM games because like I played whenever they like relaunched the XCOM series, that big one. I forgot which one it was. Enemy Within, is it the big one that kind of brought the franchise back?
XCOM 2.
Is it XCOM 2?
I think so.
But yeah, the big one that brought the franchise back. I played it and it was cool, but it was like it was too hardcore for me. Mm-hmm. It was too hardcore. Had like permadeath stuff. I'm like, I'm not about that, man.
Mm.
You throw Mario and some annoying French rabbits in there. I'm gonna play it.
Drake. Like, you need the Drake.
Cool, like environmental stuff with the stages, and it was fun. I was very surprised by that game. I was very surprised because on paper I wrote it off. Like just hearing the concept, I totally wrote it off. There's no way.
I still kind of don't like the concept, even like playing it, I'm like,
I
know that
on paper it sounds like the worst idea.
Yeah. And then apparently they like lost money on the sequel. The sequel didn't sell at all, and I don't know how. It's like, why wouldn't that sell? It's Mario. He's in the damn game. He's in the damn game.
And imagine if like there were no rabbits and it was just like all Mario characters.
What's really cool is in the sequel you can download. There's DLC where Mario and the crew go to Rayman's hideout and you recruit Rayman. And Rayman shows up and he joins your party, dude.
Okay, that's
amazing. Cool. Yeah, it's so
that is really cool. I am a fan of Rayman. Not a fan of the rabbit. I am a fan of the rabbit.
Well, my heart I love Rayman 2. Oh my god. I love that game so much.
That's the 3D.
Excuse?
Is that the 3D one? Rayman 2?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of 3D Raymans, but like the second one is the 3D one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, there hasn't been a lot of 3D Raymans.
No, there's like 2.
Yeah.
It's like 2 and 3.
Yeah, I think you're right. You're right.
Dabble D. Dabble no. If you don't know anything about Rayman, then you probably think we're insane, or you might already think that.
Well, I think rightfully thinking that. Yeah.
So the next game that surprised me was I was at Walmart with my wife back in 2017, and I was like, man, I want a game. What game should I buy? And I was just like, man, for whatever reason, I was in the mood to pay full price for a game.
That is a very specific mood.
Yeah, and it was like a Friday night. I was like, I want a game, man. I want a game. And I was like, can I get a game, baby? Can I get a game? She was like, do you need a new game? I was like, nope, but I want one. She was like, fine. And so I was like, hell yeah.
I think I'll have that conversation a lot.
Every day. And so like I pranced over there and I picked out the game with the white-haired girl with a katana on the front. So I was like, this looks pretty tight. And I never buy games without really looking into them, but this one just like something about it spoke to me. Got home.
You just like hot anime Lolita goth girls with katanas.
So anyway,
I'm just pointing it out.
The title of the game, which is fairly well known at this point, but back then it was not a known anything. Near Automata.
Yeah.
And I went home, put that game in, and man, I just could not believe how deep the story and emotional, and it was like I was not prepared for robots on the moon fighting aliens who have destroyed Earth, and they have this like crazy like concept of life and death and being and alive, and and there's twists and turns, and you play as a female android, and then you also play as a male android, but you can switch back and forth, and then there's multiple endings, and there's an ending for every letter of the alphabet. It's like, what is this game? It's crazy, and you think you've beaten the game, and then you beat it again, and you think you've beaten it then, and then like the third, because you beat the game once through as one person, then you beat the game again through as another person,
from like his point of view.
The third ending is like a sequel to the game itself. It's like it's like you think that you're just playing different playthroughs, and then the third playthrough is an entirely new game. It's like they hid a whole half of the game at the very back end of it.
I want to see the stats on like how many players only played a third of that game without realizing.
You could play through 2B's the female android. You can play through her story and finish it, and it's still a perfectly like good, even great video game. If you just stop there, you could do it front to back, and it works. But it's just like the crazy part is how that works as a perfectly fine video game. But then also you could play again through as the guy, and that also works as a perfectly good. And then you could do the third playthrough of the other character, which like even bigger spoiler, but like. And then the ending based on the decisions. I mean, that game is just so artfully done. That game is art. That game is pure art. It's just incredible, man. It feels like a game that like Kojima would have made. And like it almost feels like there's like a parallel universe where instead of Death Stranding, he made this game, but he didn't. It's like
well, Kojima and Yoko Taro are definitely cousins in the same, like they want to push the medium as hard as they can, because it's not, I mean, and that's what good art is. It's like push it as far as you can, deconstruct it if you have to build something new out of it.
The thing that I really liked about it too was that with genre swap and view swap, is like you'd be a side scrolling thing, and then you'd be playing a bullet hell shooter, and then you're playing a 3D beat 'em up, and then you're playing a top down.
Or in the first game it's like, and it's a text novel for about 40 minutes.
Yes, and there's a whole
it's a text adventure, like a straight up old school text adventure for like 30-40 minutes. Crazy.
That thing went on forever and ever.
I really loved that part though. Like I was, when I played
the tree that remembered everything.
I was just like, yeah, when you go to the tree and the memories, like that franchise is incredible. It's been what, almost 10 years or more since that game came out.
20. It's 8 years.
Man, yeah, I wonder what Yoko Taro is doing, because
he's got to be making another one, right? Like
maybe, but he's we've never seen him. Who knows what? It might not even be a real person.
Yeah, that's the other thing about him. Or the difference is like he's like a comic book character. Like Kojima's actually a real person. Yoko Taro is like, you don't even know what.
Well, I feel like Yoko Taro, like he wants to divorce his real personalities away totally from the product, but also be fully engaged with the product at the same time.
Done with that t-shirt.
Yeah, like he is. It's such a weird thing. Like he wants to be like involved with everything in the marketing and like the promotion, but he doesn't want his personality to be a part of it. He's like, you don't need to know who I am. You just need to know that I am God of this universe. It's just like, okay.
Yeah.
All right, man. With you and your Emil helmet, all weird. Just
oh man, Emil. It's funny too, because like I'd seen him and saw the helmet and all that stuff before I played the for those of you who don't know, Nier Automata is actually a sequel to a game just called Nier. But they made a remaster called Nier Replicant. And you find out that big head that the creator wears is actually like a very tragic character from the first game, and it makes you cry and make you go sad.
It's not a Yoko Taro game without tragic characters.
Yeah. Yeah. Incredibly tragic.
Yeah.
So that is
great game. And that I don't remember. I mean, I'd remembered Nier on 360. I never played it, but I remember the name, and I remember it looking really weird. I don't know how I picked up Automata.
It's
whichever.
Both. It's whichever one. I think because for the longest time I had people say it's Automata, and then apparently like one of the creators came out and just said Automata, and they're like, oh my god, like we had it, we were totally fine, we had figured it all out.
All right, so my third pick, we'll go back the olden days of Anselmo, when I was like 10, 11. I was probably like 11, and at that point I was strictly in platformer Mario. Like the only games I played Mario, I played Contra, I played just action games, action platformer games, especially just platformer. I love platformer games. Now, I didn't really know there was much else until I went over to a friend's house, Billy, and he was playing this game.
What's he playing?
It's like, what you playing, Billy? He was just playing this game where you read, and I was like, what is this? I like to read. I was really into reading books, fantasy books, sci-fi books, stuff like that. And like you had to take turns fighting. I'm like, this is super freaking weird. It's like playing like a book. And that was Final Fantasy 2 or Final Fantasy 4. But it was called Final Fantasy 2. And he also had Earthbound. I remember seeing Earthbound too. I didn't play that one though. I was entranced by Final Fantasy. And after that, I was just like, I tried to play every RPG I could possibly find. And I still do. Like if I see an RPG that looks cool, I've never played, I'm like, I want to try that. I want to see what the story is. I want to see what the combat's like. Mostly the story. Story, if the audience needs to know anything about me, story is kind of in games. Story is I can forgive bad gameplay if the story is really good. Like story's king. So yeah, Final Fantasy 2. I loved that game. Like
it's a good one.
It's a classic.
It is a classic. It's held up really well too. The funny thing about those games is 4 and 6 I did not play because I never had them. I never really had friends that had them. Because back then it was like you didn't know what to play. Because I played Final Fantasy 1 on NES and I really liked it. But then, and I heard there were sequels, but it was back then, in the 90s. You just, I don't know. A lot of those big RPGs, you didn't see RPGs like that in Walmart and stuff. From what I remember, I don't remember walking in and seeing like Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy.
Yeah, Chrono Trigger. You also had Chrono Trigger.
I don't remember seeing those games like for sale. When I went to Walmart, it was like Zelda, Mario, Kirby. Like those are the games I remember seeing. I just don't remember. I could be wrong. I do not remember seeing the Final Fantasy games very, very often.
I think it wasn't until Final Fantasy VII where really like everyone, like all the companies were like, oh, there's a market for this stuff.
Yeah. Yes. I didn't play 6 until after I played 7. Like I didn't even like I never played like 4 and 6. I did not play until I got those on Super Nintendo in like 1999, like when I had gotten a Dreamcast and stuff. But so I just I never knew. So for me, like my first huge Super Nintendo RPG was Earthbound. So I think everyone's first big, whether it was Chrono Trigger or Final Fantasy 4, 6, Earthbound, whatever, Mario RPG, Secret of Mana.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that's your favorite, or that's the one that just is stuck in your brain.
Like 4 for me, it's not my favorite, but it's always like I'll always have a special little place in my heart. Because I remember because I'd never heard of I didn't know Final Fantasy 1, obviously, and I played Final Fantasy 3 or 6, and then like 7 came out. I'm like, what the hell is happening?
Yeah.
What happened to the other? What happened to the other 4 or the other 3? What's going on, guys?
Yeah.
I was so confused.
Yeah, that was also the marketing was just awful. Oh no, I had Mystic Quest. That was the thing. I had Mystic Quest.
Yeah, you had Mystic Quest.
So that one I had either right before or right after Earthbound. I can't remember which one.
Those were
the 2 early SNES.
Like FF4, they thought because FF4 didn't sell super well here. They're like, the West they're dumb.
But a lot of those games were expensive too. Those Super Nintendo RPGs were expensive because they were like those cartridges were way expensive to make because they're like if you take apart like Super Mario World, the cartridge is like the little chipset is like this big inside. If you take apart Final Fantasy 6 or 3, pull that shit apart, there's like just tons of like the chipset takes up the whole cartridge. It's like huge and it's heavy.
Amazing
like,
they were able to fit that much game, especially Final Fantasy 6. They were able to fit that on a Super Nintendo cartridge. That's huge. That's a huge game.
And that game was like those games were like $70 or $80. Like I remember Mario RPG and Chrono Trigger. I remember seeing them in the ads for like $70 or $80. They were like not cheap.
That was back then. That was 1994, 95 money.
Yeah, so, it was because those
well over $100.
Because those RPGs, they were expensive. They weren't cheap. You had to put more stuff in the cart.
More cheap. But yeah, Final Fantasy 2, special place. It surprised the hell out of me because I was not. I'd never even heard of a game where like you play a book, you play a play basically, or like controlling a play, and it just blew my freaking mind. Like I loved it.
So you played 2 before 1?
Yeah.
Or 4 before 1. That's funny because I played 1 and I enjoyed it. I don't think I fully understood it when I played it because I was
that's very a young ass game, man. Like especially the NES version. Like if you don't know what you're doing, you're just gonna not do well.
Because I was like, oh, it's like a cinematic Zelda. It's like Zelda, but you don't like you get into the battles and
like an abstract
your attacks. And I thought that was cool. I liked that. But then, I think I was just so young. I was like 6 or something. I think when I played that
Final Fantasy hit me at like the perfect time. Like I was about to be a preteen, and I'm like, I like to read, and I'm like, oh, and I like video games. I think this is made for me. Of course, now it's more like playing a movie, but
I was 6 or 7, I think, when I played the first Final Fantasy. And I just it was Zelda made sense to me. He control a little boy. He does a sword, and he keeps going. Where it's like. Well, no, let's be honest. Zelda didn't make sense to me. I just I could play it. It's not like I beat the game.
I could
like
never,
when I was,
man. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, there's no way. At 6, you're able to beat the first Zelda. That game was freaking
no, that's the crazy thing
hard.
is people talk about beating games, man. Nobody beat any games ever when we were kids. It was just you played it until it got to a hard
Unless
part.
you had the Nintendo Power strategy guide, or you called that 800 number and had someone talk you through a hard part in a video game. Like, that was it. Those were your options. Or like talk to someone at school that got past a certain part. Like that was it.
I called the number for Super Metroid where you had to use the bomb in the big pipe. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to go because there's nothing that tells you got to use your power bomb in the pipe.
Dude, imagine having that job. That's so cool.
My boss my boss at work at Retro Studios, my boss, he used to do that. That was his job in the 90s. He was what did he call them? Just game help, hotline guy. And he would like answer phones and tell people how to get through certain games. That's crazy. My next game is a game that I saw in a magazine coming out, and I got really excited because I had this game. I had a GameCube because I bought a GameCube for Smash Brothers and Star Wars. And I was really enjoying those things, but I played the heck out of those games. I was ready for a new game, and I started reading about this new game coming out where you could play as different people throughout history. And I was getting really excited. You could be a Roman soldier. You could be this woman in the present who like was exploring this house with like a gun. You could be people in the future. You could be people in the past. You could be like all kinds of different characters and stuff from history. And I thought that was such a cool idea. And so I bought it. I didn't rent it. I bought it. Like I got it. I was really excited for it. I had no idea a game called Eternal Darkness was going to be like scary. I thought it was going to be like a historical action. I thought it was going to be like a historical action game where you play as these guys, and because I knew it had like some creatures in it, but so did like Zelda.
All games had creatures.
You find Zelda had zombies and stuff, but like. This game, I was not prepared for the psychological terror that was going to ensue in my brain, because what this game did, which now is famous for, is your character had a sanity meter. So it's essentially, the game is like Resident Evil, for those of you who don't know. It's like Resident Evil, and you're controlling a woman, and she goes to investigate her father's death. He was murdered in this big mansion. And you start investigating stuff, and then she uncovers clues about all these people from the past, and then you play it shifts to them, like these people in history who have all experienced this great evil and creepiness, and you control them all the same. You can target body parts and stuff. You fight like zombies, but your character, the more effed up shit, the more stuff they encounter that makes they have a psychological terror meter, and the higher it gets, the you don't really know what's going to happen when that meter gets high. Well, then things start happening in the game where you don't know, you as the player starts going crazy because you don't know what's going on. And so the volume on your TV will start going up and down. There will be like you'll just walk past statues and their heads will start turning and looking at you, and just everything. And at one point, the game, you go to save your game, and it'll just start deleting your memory card, and it'll say like deleting memory card in progress. And I, no joke, I like ran and ripped my memory card out of the thing. I was like, no, you don't. And it's so smart because it saves the game right before you do that, because it knows what you're gonna do, but it's just screwing with your mind. And so the player start going crazy. And that is still one of the coolest concepts for a horror game. They really haven't quite done it since then, at least not to that degree.
I don't know if they patent something, or I don't know what, but not a lot of games. I think, what was that? Amnesia? Didn't Amnesia have some sort of? I didn't play it, but didn't that have some sort of fear meter or something?
I don't know much about Amnesia. I remember hearing people talk about it, but because I'm not a big horror game guy. I had bought this game, and back then it's like, what was I gonna do? I'm not gonna take it back. I'm not gonna,
Yeah.
I'm gonna just kind of push through it. And it was really scary. And one thing it would do, I mean, even you would walk into a room and at one point it would say your controller's unplugged, and you'd be surrounded by enemies, and you're freaking out. You're like, no, 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 it's not. And you're like trying to plug your controller back in. It's like, what a crazy thing. I think it's harder. It'd be harder to mess with people because back then you had universal, like the TVs and remotes and everything were the same. It's like when the volume would turn up and down, the sandy meter was messing with you. It really did look like every CRT, volume meter,
the little
at the same time.
Lines.
Yeah. So
I remember they had one where like the TV turned off. I remember that one.
Yes.
And then they had one where like the screen would just kind of start this.
There was one
like
where
warbling a little bit.
Where your character walks into a room and their head just falls off of their body, and it just says "game over," and you're like, "Excuse me."
And that was a Nintendo game. That was a first party. It wasn't developed by Nintendo in-house, but it was a Nintendo game. Like,
yes, Nintendo first party Silicon Knights.
I think that's the craziest thing about that game. And Nintendo is like, hey, make this frightening game for us.
I mean, it's insane that Nintendo went out and got Silicon Knights to make two just the most mature rated crazy games for the GameCube, which was Twin Snakes and Eternal Darkness, and both of them were like first party Nintendo games filled with like murder and terror, and there's just horrible scenes, and it's like, okay, sure, go for it. I love it, dude. I need Alex Roivas. It was the girl's name with the shotgun. Bring her into Smash Brothers.
Oh,
the new one. That'd be so cool, man. And they brought Snake. You brought Snake into Smash. It's such a cool, and it also had this really cool thing where you at the beginning of the game you would pick a god.
Yeah.
And like, so if you pick the red god of death or whatever, the green god of space or something, because there was this whole cosmic horror plot line. And by the end, depending on what god you chose at the beginning, was the god that would like fight against the benevolent or, the evil god or whatever. I can't remember totally, but I remember I actually played through the game twice because you could pick a different god and then get a totally different ending depending on which god you pick. Nice. So it was such a cool game, and the way you could target different body parts, it was so cool. It was really ahead of its time,
like a real-time Vagrant Story.
It was also, yes, it was very reminiscent, and I actually really liked Vagrant Story at the time. That game was also very hard. It's like the hardest RPG ever. But like the one thing too, that game, I remember one of the big selling points of Eternal Darkness was it has the best camera of any game. And that was one of its selling points, was like, because everyone was really upset at the time when GameCube came out. They were like, yeah, but how's the camera? Because the cameras in Super Mario 64 and Banjo-Kazooie and all those old games, people hated the camera in those games. And so having the good camera back then was like, oh, the camera doesn't get in your way and it follows you. And I remember you would like be walking and you turn down a little there'd be just like some bookshelves over here, and you turn and the camera would go straight behind you and like go right into the bookshelves, come back out. And it was like it was such a good camera in the game. And most games don't have good cameras.
Yeah, that's funny. It's like there was a time where like a functioning camera was a huge boon.
Selling point. I remember it. I mean, it was like, and it was camera. And I remember the reviews. Some of the reviews were a little divisive and all over the place that game. People loved it or hated it. But one thing they all agreed on was the camera was incredible, because camera is amazing. Such a good camera.
Nice.
What's your next game?
My next game is so this game had been in development for too long, and it basically got scrapped and then remade with a totally different team, totally different developer. It's ended up being really good. Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance.
Oh, that's a good one.
So I followed that game. I followed the whole development, and Originally it was supposed to be like took place in between Metal Gear Solid 2, Metal Gear Solid 4, and it was supposed to be like Raiden like sneaking into Area 51 and rescuing Sonny and like how he gets his cyborg body. And I'm like, this is gonna be incredible. And then they were like, nah.
And the early footage of him slicing the watermelon in like a billion pieces.
And it was supposed to be much more deliberate gameplay as well. It was supposed to be very just more slow paced and deliberate. And then like, no, we're gonna trash it and we're gonna give it to Platinum. And I think at that point Platinum would just like the Bayonetta guys, pretty much.
They weren't as beloved at that point.
They really just had Bayonetta.
Vanquish and Bayonetta, maybe?
Vanquish was really cool.
I think they had those two games.
But Vanquish just kind of under the radar. No one really. But Bayonetta, I wasn't really big into character action games. Like I'm still not really big into them. So I was like, this is gonna be like Metal Gear Bayonetta.
Platinum hadn't yet made Bayonetta 2, and they hadn't made Nier Automata yet. So like they hadn't really done those games where everybody's like, oh my god, they got it.
They weren't the go-to for character action games yet. They were just like, hey, we made Bayonetta. It's like Lady May Cry, It's like, I'm not really into those games very much. And then they scrapped the whole story with the prequel of 4, and I'm like, all right, I'll buy it. All right. And yeah, me and my friend bought it midnight release and played it till the break of dawn to beat that freaking game. And it was freaking incredible. Like
I love that game.
Really just like it's different, but it has that little like kernel of Kojima in it still. Like it's a little bit of a kernel. It's great. I still replay that game. Like especially on the Steam Deck, it plays like a dream. It really does. And like
I actually think it's in my top 3 favorite Metal Gear games.
It's really good.
I think it's actually like up there.
And it's easy to like. I mean, it's no pun intended. It's a very memeable game because it's just absolutely ridiculous. But it's like supposed to be that way. Like
what's the first boss you fight? Like a knife wolf or something? What's his name? What is he called?
What is that guy's name? But yeah, he's a robot wolf and he like talks. You like beat him and he's like, I will join you.
And the music that plays though when you fight it, the soundtrack in that game is awesome.
It's pretty killer.
Yeah.
I don't really listen to that type of music, but during that game, it's like 1-to-1 perfect. It's like that's the music that's playing in Jack's head while he's.
it's one of those games that's like, I think at the time it came out, it kind of got like some mixed reviews.
Yeah.
But when you look back on it, it just like you said, it's like got that perfect like middle ground of like memeable, but also like incredible gameplay and like funny kind of like over the top characters that were like not like deep and interesting like a Metal Gear game, more like
it had enough.
It had enough
of the deepness. It had enough. It
had a little bit of it, but it was.
You know what I mean? It had the like socio-political satire, but it leaned more into the satire than Metal Gear does. But it had that political social critique, but it just like went full satire with it.
It leaned a lot more into like turn on the metal song and give me a katana and let me kill a robot samurai wolves.
That final boss, I remember we stayed up all night. And the whole playthrough, we couldn't figure out the parrying, which looking back now, it's like I think it's fantastic parry. It's like the best parry. I love it.
Some of the combat in the game is hard to get a hold of, and then once you grasp it, you're like, oh, this is brilliant.
But yeah, we didn't get a grasp on it the whole game, and you need to have a grasp on it for the final boss, like the final boss. And yeah, we spent like 2 hours just trying to take down the Senator Armstrong. But when we did it, it was like, yes.
Platinum has my favorite parries of any developer. So I think my 2 favorite games, my 2 favorite parries in a video game are Metal Gear Rising and Nier Automata. Like, because there's something about the way those parries feel.
Like they're
It's like-
tactile, and like you, it's like you have it's like you do a motion to do it. So it's not just like pressing a button. It's like it feels more tactile when you parry. It's not just like press the button at the right time. Like with Metal Gear Rising, it's like you have to like brush the stick towards the attack, and it just feels more. It feels like you're actually like dink, you know,
leaning into the attack. Yeah,
it just feels good to do.
Perfection. Perfection.
But yeah, that game surprised the hell out of me because I had pretty low expectations because of disappointment. Now I would have still liked a story that fills in 2 and 4, but we'll never get it. We'll never get it. So I'll just deal with it, you know. Oh, you.
Well, my next is this 4? Is this the 4th game?
Yeah, it's your 4th. Yeah.
So I had heard about this game because at the time, like, I love metal music. It's one of my favorite genres, and at the time I heard they were making an open world metal game. Like, an open world metal game was going to be like, I was like, that sounds dope. It's probably going to be awful, And so I remember it was in development for like a really long time, and then there was like, oh, Jack Black is going to play the main character. I was like, that sounds weird, but I'm down. I mean, he's like he's into metal, and there's going to be all these famous musicians are going to be involved and everything. And I said, okay. And then how's the game going to be? And then the game came out called Brutal Legend. It got mixed reviews and stuff, and some people liked it, some people didn't. And I remember booting it up and just being completely blown away by the writing and the humor and the characters and the art style and like the music, and just like I couldn't believe that we had never gotten a game. It's like with all this licensed music, but it actually has it's going somewhere with it. My problem with like Grand Theft Auto and stuff was like, it feels like you're just a ton of licensed music in the games, and it doesn't really, it's just there. It's like it's all on the radio stations, but it doesn't really push any narrative. It doesn't push the world building necessarily. It's just kind of there, and it's cool. But like, this was where you had Judas Priest and Ozzy Osbourne and Iron Maiden and all this stuff in this game, and they're like, but it's all part of the world. The world is this metal world, and you're adventuring around as this roadie who dies, who goes into the metal world, and Jack Black, and he has a giant axe and turns it, and he has a guitar. But it's also got like Guitar Hero style like mini games where you can play solos on the guitar and summon your car, and then you customize your car, you level up, you can ride dudes, and then like you explore this whole open world. It's like action RPG with a car. It's like all of this shit. I'm like, I couldn't believe how much stuff they put in this game. How many licensed songs? I mean, Ozzy Osbourne is in the game. Like tons of different famous musicians are in there. Kyle Gass is in there. Brian Posehn is in there. And it's like all of this stuff. And then you get to the first boss fight, and what does it do? The camera pans up, and it's a real-time strategy game where you have like troops, and you have to, and it's like hard. It's not easy to do. It's like I couldn't believe it. And it's like this whole thing. And then every time you fight a major boss in the game storyline, you go into an RTS, and what's the dude who plays the devil in the Tom Cruise movie?
Tim Curry?
Tim Curry. Tim Curry is the bad guy.
Oh, that's awesome.
And they're like the leather, because each group of bad guys is like a different genre of metal. So like you have like the hair metal guys, right? Or the glam rock guys, like the first sect of people that you have to fight. And then there's like the glam or the death metal guys that you got to fight, who like into Children of Bodom and stuff. And then there's like then the final guys are like the zipper rock, like the what would you call them, like the leather bound guys, and Tim Curry's the bad guy in it. Anyways, it was just, I couldn't believe it. The story was good, the writing was good, like the character, like it's just, I couldn't believe how much I got into that game, how much I cared about that game, how much I actually like legitimately like the gameplay, the story. And then you could even get to a point where you could tame mounts in the game. So like all the creatures you were killing throughout the game, you can ride them around. It was crazy. I was like, I couldn't believe how much gameplay and different systems and different things they put in this game. And it's just, which is effectively just a really expensive indie game made by Tim Schafer of Double
Yeah.
Fine Studios, who
Yeah.
like before that game, he made Psychonauts, which was another like almost like very expensive indie game essentially. And he's so good at writing, and like he just does not get enough credit. And then he came out with Psychonauts 2 not long ago, and that game was incredible. Nobody talked about it. It's crazy. This guy's just making just great games, and he doesn't get any credit. Anyways, I need a Brutal Legend 2.
I never
Brutal Legend
played Brutal
is
Legend.
one of the most surprising games I ever played. I couldn't believe all the stuff they put in that game. It had no marketing, no budget, really. It was like,
Yeah.
it was just awesome.
Kind of came out of nowhere, I remember.
It came out of nowhere. It had like insane casts and licensed music and stuff. It was nuts. Like that. You didn't really get licensed music outside of Tony Hawk and Grand Theft Auto very much back then. So it was like,
Yeah.
You still don't. You don't see licensed music very often in that many games. And no football games do not count. Okay. Girl, don't play the football, girl.
My last one.
Final game. What is your final surprise?
Final surprise.
It's the final surprise.
Also another, I had no idea. Kind of with Final Fantasy IV, I had no idea what I was in for. I've told you this story before, where I was sold Xenogears and this game by a mutual friend of ours in high school, and both of those games absolutely they blew me away. But Xenogears, I already played RPGs, but that's like a whole nother level. Xenogears, incredible game. But I remember the cover, and it was just a simple white cover with like red gloss writing and like this cool techno looking font, and it said Metal Gear Solid Tactical Espionage Action. I was like, what the hell is this? What is this? And my life was forever changed. I had no pretense, because I never played Metal Gear on NES or Snake's Revenge on NES, and I had no idea what it was. But whoo, man, it was the same kind of thing with Final Fantasy IV. Like I put it in, and I was like, games can do this. Like, it's like playing a movie. It's like with Final Fantasy, it's like I'm playing a book. This one's like I'm playing a freaking movie. And like not only the presentation, which was like, especially at the time, like nothing else had presentation like that. Like voice acting in video games, pretty freaking terrible across the board in 1997, 98. Like I can't think of any good examples other than Metal Gear Solid that had good voice acting. And it actually had direction in the cutscenes. And it not only, the story was great, the gameplay, I'd never played a stealth game, so I was like, I play by not fighting? Okay. All right. Like, okay. And then the Psycho Mantis fight happened, and I was just like, I still remember it took me a long time to figure out that I thought you just had to like brute force your way through the guy. It's impossible. Like you can't. And I forgot how I even figured it out. I probably someone at school told me the trick, or I read it in a magazine or something. But yeah, that was the moment where like games can be like just like pushing, like with Nier Automata, it's like pushing what a game can be. Like it's not just Mario where you're jumping to the right of the screen And it's not like Final Fantasy where you're like reading a book. This is like a movie where the creator is like playing with you in this weird sense, where like he's playing along with you, like he's making these little things and reaching out to you and be like, figure this out. The game blew my mind. I was not I didn't know what I was expecting, because all I had was the back of the case, which was like, I don't know.
Well, when that game came out, there just was nothing like it. I mean, like, as far as a narrative and like that kind of like presentation and cinematic feel, but also that weird toyishness of it, where it felt like you were almost like controlling a toy soldier, and there's like the creator is like the kid playing with it, like, no, 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 don't do that. Go see what's over there, you know. And you're like, what? Who's talking to me? What's that voice? It's like, is that God? Like, yeah.
No, that's Kojima.
Well, basically the same thing.
Yeah, and that just like my lifelong obsession with those games. Like it, and every subsequent release just got more and more like pushing the envelope of what a game is. Like, there's just not a series like Metal Gear Solid. Like, there's just not. Like, fantastic. And that game surprised me so much that not a day goes by I at least think about Metal Gear Solid like once a day on average. Yeah. You know? Like, it's always like, I always have a thought, just like, Metal Gear Solid, yeah, that part was awesome. Like, it's just living in my head forever.
Yeah. I mean, hey, man. That's healthy.
Yeah.
Is that like your favorite game of all time or something?
I don't know. We'll I guess
maybe we need to do an episode.
Maybe we should do an episode
on our favorite games of all time.
Ever.
Don't spoil it.
Yeah, it's like ever. We're talking like empirical data, objective, just like pure.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I guess that's me.
Yeah, that's you, man. What's your last one?
So the final game that surprised me, which is, you know, I've talked a lot about like certain games already on this podcast, and I don't want to tread old ground. But the one game that is maybe the one that's, you know, maybe up there as the highest surprise, which is funny because it's the same. It was back when this publisher was clearly on top of everything when, you know, especially in the PlayStation 1 era. And I remember that I just got my PlayStation 1 and I really wanted to play. I'd heard a lot about certain games. I had already played Final Fantasy VII and Resident Evil 2 on the PC for some reason in 1998. And so then I got my PS1 and I said, like, what are the games I need to get for this console? And the first game, because obviously I'd heard a lot about Metal Gear at that point, but I picked up a PS1 and I picked up Metal Gear Solid. I picked up I picked up Metal Gear Solid. I picked up Final Fantasy VIII. Right? Was it 1999, 98? When did Final Fantasy VIII come out? I can't remember if I picked up 3 games. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I picked up Metal Gear, I picked up a Final Fantasy game, and I picked up a game called Castlevania Symphony of the Night. And I put in Castlevania because I was really interested in it. I had actually played the game on N64 because I had always really liked the aesthetics of Castlevania. I played the first one on NES and I loved it, but it was really hard. You know, I was also a kid when I played that game. I played the one on Super Nintendo and I really liked that one. I also thought that one was pretty hard because I was also a kid. And then I played the one on N64, which was like the easiest one technically, but was kind of scary. And again, I kind of touched on like I didn't like scary games, and I know you think Castlevania 64, it wasn't very scary. Back then it was to me. Okay, I'm a little baby boy. And so I'm just like, man, I really wish that the games weren't so hard. If you had some way of like getting more powerful and like saving your game and more exploration, more like an RPG, more like, but like, I don't want the 3D Castlevania that was on 64. I wish it was like the 2D one, but like maybe better graphics. And I put in Castlevania Symphony of the Night, and I was like, this is literally everything I've ever wanted in a video game. It's like the 2D aesthetics of Castlevania, the beautiful, like all the like vampires and the gothic architecture and all this. But instead of these like stoic, blocky man, you're like this elegant, long-haired, white-haired, badass half vampire, half human who uses magic. Yeah, you're just Sephiroth. Well, and I had just beaten Final Fantasy VII, so I was obsessed with Sephiroth.
Yeah, so you're like, who's this?
I was like, you are literally Sephiroth in this game. And it's like, you have a sword. Like, what in the world? It's so cool. And you start the game as the dude from the other game, except you fight Dracula. It is the best metal music I'd ever heard in a video game. I couldn't believe how good some of the music was. I was just like, this is so cool. And it was like, the music was blowing my mind, the art style, and then the gameplay is like, hey, here's the save point. And I remember thinking, holy shit, this is like Metroid. This is like Metroid. And I loved Super Metroid at the time. And it was like, the save system is like Metroid. Oh, and I can explore the castle and I can get power-ups. But wait, hold on. I just leveled up. It's like Final Fantasy. This is like Final Fantasy and Metroid and Castlevania, and with a Mega Man style soundtrack. Are you serious right now? Like, I couldn't believe it was just like all the things put together that I'd ever wanted in a game.
Thus the Metroidvania was born.
And that was like the first Metroidvania. And the funniest part about it is Igarashi was not influenced by Metroid. He had never played a Metroid game at that point. He said he was influenced by The Legend of Zelda, and he wanted to add more Zelda-like exploration to his 2D Castlevania game. Yeah. And so that's why he said, like, you get this item and you can unlock this area over here. I mean, that is basically what Zelda is too. It's just 3D. Yeah. I mean, let's be honest. Like, every game is Metroidvania if you really try hard enough with your brain. Like Resident Evil, Metroidvania.
Yeah.
Zelda, it's a Metroidvania. Kirby?
No.
But whatever, you get it. You know what I mean? Mario Tennis, Metroidvania.
that I'll agree with.
But yeah, man, that's mine. And it's funny because we both ended on the PS1 Konami game.
Konami classic.
So intrinsically tied. And I just read about the guy, the one guy who translated Castlevania Symphony of the Night. He translated Metal Gear Solid, and he translated Suikoden 1 and 2, like, all by himself.
Oh,
like
yeah,
one guy. He translated all of those games.
Xenogears, which has, I forgot how many, like,
that game. You
pages,
say
but
JRPGs are like novels.
Xenogears is like freaking Tolstoy. Like, it's War and Peace. But one guy in, I think, 3 months crushed that entire game all by himself. Where, like, he wasn't always by himself. Everyone was dropping off left and right. He's like, he freaking did it all. Didn't sleep. Just freaking crushed it.
The funny thing is the guy translated Suikoden. He actually had a small group of like 3 people on Suikoden 2, but he did not have any team members on Castlevania or Metal Gear. Because I guess they had less dialogue technically.
Yeah. I mean, Metal Gear has decent amount of dialogue, but
probably not as much as Suikoden though, because like, if you think of all the different townspeople you got to talk to throughout the whole game.
Yeah.
But imagine translating Metal Gear by yourself in a different language. And he's responsible for like one of the best translations we had ever gotten at that point, because games have been translated horribly.
Well, it wasn't until funny with Xenogears, it wasn't until that one guy who did all of Xenogears, like, he did such a good job and made such a fuss maybe fuss is the wrong word, but he was a big advocate for like,
how dare you use language like that?
Why are you not giving the translation side any resources at all? Like, and he did such a good job. They're like, okay, we'll make a team, like a permanent team. And
you can have one other guy.
That's why, like, if you look at Final Fantasy VII's translation and look at Final Fantasy VIII's translation, it's like night and day. Like 8 is like a good translation with like characterization and like different dialects. It's a good translation. That's why it's because of the guy. I forgot his name. Honeywood. Roger Honeywood, something like that.
Is he a detective from the 30s? Honeywood. The dame walked into my office. It was 8:15.
I got a Honeywood.
Said I got a cold body in the Western District. You need to come down.
Honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions. Well, here's the thing. I would have said Earthbound, but Earthbound I just feel like I talk about so much. I left that off the list. But that game did blow me away. However, it wasn't, like you said, it's kind of like your Xenogears. It's like, it wasn't the first JRPG I had played. It wasn't, like, it was just the first one I had beaten. It was like the first one I had, like, that had gotten its hooks in me.
Yeah.
But, like, I had played them before. I had done all this. It was all the things it did right that really blew me away over time. But I wouldn't say I was blown away, like, when I first booted it up. I mean, I just remember being like, this is cool. And then it just kind of slowly... like these other games, I was like, what the hell? What the hell? What?
I have to say, Guardians of the Galaxy surprised the hell out of me.
I thought about that one when I was making
that game. Was like a solid blast. Like, that was a really fun game. And like, it came out like... It
looked like it was going to be terrible.
It was because Marvel Avengers came out like the same year, and that was like a total crash and burn. And it was
along those lines, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, which just came out last year. That's a similar thing where I was like, it had no rights. Like, it's an Indiana Jones game. I mean, how good can it really be?
There hasn't been really any good ones.
And it's like basically like an adventure stealth game, and it's just amazing. And how you can pick up all the different pots and pans and like little guitars and knock people over the head with them, and it's so funny the way how slapstick it is. But a dude comes, he's like, hey, you're not supposed to be there, and then you pick up a mandolin and you just whack him over the fucking head and it makes the sound and everything. So good. And it's really good, and it's long, and it's like got multiple little like mini open world sections.
I do want to play
that
because
it's really good.
A big Indiana Jones.
It's actually out on PS5 this week, I think. Yeah. Finally came to PS5. It's free on Game Pass, You can play it on your Steam Deck if you had Game Pass.
It probably doesn't run very well.
No, you stream it. If you had Game Pass, you can stream games. Which you love. I know you like to stream, you little streamer.
My Wi-Fi is man. I've tried streaming stuff and like remote play stuff. It doesn't work well. My
ex-wife was a streamer.
My last honorable mention, Final Fantasy VII remake. Yeah. I knew it was going to be good, but I didn't think I was going to like it as much as I ended up liking it. Like,
that one almost surprises me on how much I thought I was going to like it, and then actually ended up kind of not liking it as much. Yeah. And I think I kind of
I had my expectations pretty low.
When I
was very tempered expectations going in for me.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's at least going to be like a fun romp through, like, hey, I remember that. No, yeah, cool. But all the crazy stuff they've done with the story and the meta story, I'm totally in for. Like, go bonkers. I don't go crazy. Like, dude, just throw it all out. I don't care. Like, just do what you want, man. I'm in.
My last honorable mention would be Phantasy Star Online.
The Dreamcast.
Yeah, because I had never really experienced online games before. I didn't really understand that, like, the guy that's in the room that's playing with me and we're questing together is the guy that, like, is in my biology class the next day in high school. It's like, what? This is the same. I just it didn't like. It blew my mind how we could do that. How technology would allow you to do that, and it was just
Console,
so cool.
especially. Yeah.
I love that game. I still love that game.
I didn't play any of the online ones. It sucks that they never went back to the mainline franchise at all. Like they just got after.
Yeah.
They were like, nah, story's over. It's like,
I really, it's weird because that's the thing is I'm not an online boy, but like my first like big online experiences like Halo 2 and Phantasy Star Online, the two ones that like really got me are like forever will be my favorite online experiences, and it just won't ever change. Like it won't. That stuff is
that's sweet.
it's a good time.
That's sweet. That's sweet.
It's sweet. It is sweet. It is so sweet.
It's precious. Well, that's our lists. If you got lists and you want to share them, put it in the something below.
Share your lists in the comment section. Don't you forget to share your list in the comment section. Oh my gosh, and some more. He's going crazy, crazy, crazy. Oh my gosh, and some more is going crazy, crazy, crazy. He's going crazy. He's going crazy. Thank you, and thank you for watching.
Bye.
See you next week.
Like and subscribe or not.
Like in all the games.
I don't care.
Who knows?
You could be the guest on next week's episode if you
we'll fly you down to Dakota.
Flying down.
North, South, your choice.
We're not going to tell you which Dakota.
Your choice. You go whichever you want.
I don't know. It could be anywhere.
You come over and play Mario Tennis.
Developed by Camelot.
Developed like viewers like you. Have a good day. Love you.
Call your mom.
Okay. Call my mom.
Call Robin's mom. That you love her.